So, my name is Felicia. I'm going to be talking to you guys about GMOs. Many people talk about when they were in college, they were broke and had to eat ramen every day. Some of us understand the struggle. Me personally, I'm one of them. Now, some of those people are graduated and they are successful and they don't have to worry about where their next meal will be coming from. However, for others, it's a constant struggle thinking about what their kids are going to have for dinner or if there will even be a dinner. It's 2016 and all around the world, even here in the United States, people are faced with malnutrition and hunger. There is so much technology that exists, why not apply it to the issue of hunger? Genetically modified foods will end hunger. In the past, 2 people have spoken about GMOs. One had some bad connotations to say about it, and the other was talking about some of the benefits. I will touch upon it slightly, but first I'm going to prove that GMOs will increase production. Next, I will show you the weather-resistant gene that will allow it to grow in any climate. And finally, we will delve into the benefits of making it a more nutrient-dense crop. A little background information on GMOs is that they were originally created to be resistant to Roundup Ready, which was a pesticide designed to protect crops from weeds. This would help the environment and reduce the cost for farmers and consumers. On that note, I will bring you to my first point. GMO crops cut down the cost of preparing any specific crop to be ready for harvest. Despite what some people might say, the gene put into soybeans to make it resistant to Roundup Ready would, according to Joshua Bushong, a Oklahoma State University Cooperative Extension Area agronomist, only require 1 application of weed killer instead of multiple applications, reducing production costs and limiting the dangers of agricultural waste runoff. By reducing the cost of crops, more people have access to it. If the cost of staple crops like corn, soybeans, and others were to go down, many more people, such as lower-income families, could have access to them. A survey conducted by McAvery, who works for the University of Leeds, UK, stated that lower real prices for vegetables and fruits were found to predict a significantly lower gain in BMI between kindergarten and 3rd grade. The lower body mass index shows that kids are eating in a more nutritious kind of way. If we could alter the production of necessary fruits and vegetables, everyone would be able to enjoy nutrient-dense crops. So instead of going out and purchasing food that isn't healthy for them, this way parents could make a more nutritious meal for their kids at home and for themselves. Moving on to my next point, GMOs expand the available arable land. All over the world, there are vast ranges in temperature between certain places that are ideal to grow certain kinds of crops. In certain areas, the land is not liable to produce much of anything due to desert conditions, or it's icy, or anything along those lines. GMOs can alter where plants can grow. Tom Prey from Newsweek Global argues that heat burns crops, soil has been ruined by overfarming and drought, and bugs ride across oceans to feed on defenseless plants. Agronomists have been working on these problems for years, but the rapid population growth of humans makes overcoming these challenges increasingly urgent. If we can't feed the world, it will eventually feed on us. A new technology that targets a specific gene can alter the plant in a way that can make it resistant to certain weather conditions. As previously stated, heat and frost, along with insects, can completely waste a harvest. Impoverished countries and areas around the world that are in a drought or face extreme conditions will be able to be self-sustainable. The crops that they grow in these areas will help communities' economy, but also will be able to feed their own people. This would allow citizens to not have to depend on government aid, which is not necessarily the greatest way to receive food and can sometimes delay how quickly they will be able to access their own food, like Cuba. Finally, on to my third point, GMOs will increase the nutritional value of foods consumed. If you really wanted to, you could eat affordably at McDonald's every day. I don't know if you guys have seen the documentary or heard of the documentary. This guy had McDonald's every day for 30 days, and he didn't end up so well. Yes. The body needs a variety of nutrients which can be applied to the plant that will ultimately benefit you. So why not do it now? Many people do not have nutrient-dense diets. Not here in the United States, and certainly not in any other parts of the world, let alone impoverished ones. Vitamin A has been added to rice as a way to combat night blindness and other side effects. Peter Beyer wrote in an article for the Journal of Nutrition that people use rice as a primary food staple, which contributes to vitamin A deficiency, which is a serious health problem in at least 26 countries, including highly populated areas of Asia, Africa, and Latin America. The human body needs different kinds of vitamins and nutrients to sustain itself. In the United States, children and adults are sometimes faced with hunger, but on the other hand, some are faced with obesity. However, you look at it and people aren't getting the necessary nutrients. Something simple such as fortified rice and can help the population, so why can't other foods also have the same things added to it to improve the quality of life for everyone? In conclusion, GMO will end hunger by increasing population, creating weather-resistant genes, and a more nutrient-dense crop.
I'm going to say that.
I caught myself doing it.
I did not think about GMOs.
All it took was 3 speeches in class. And it
Yeah,
solves
right?
all the GMO ambiguity in the world. I don't know about that, but all right. Well, your claim is pretty clearly identified at the beginning. It's pretty simple to start with, so it's not that hard to pick out. In your preview, at the beginning of the speech, you identify the subject matter. You don't really make them claims. In fact, sometimes they sound like they are explanations rather than arguments. However, in the body of the speech, they're phrased as claims, which helps quite a bit, so I can tell what inference I'm supposed to be drawing here, not just what is the information that's being presented. So organizationally, it's very solid, and it's clear how it's developing. The proof is, I think, a little more problematic. I do think that you have some good quotes on the way that this material is supposed to work, the potential advantages, although they are very generic kinds of pieces of information about what's, well, here's a hypothetical. We can, fortify the rice so that it prevents night blindness. I thought, okay, so do we have any data on this? Have there been examples where they've used this? Or is this just, an expert's opinion about what is possible as opposed to something that's actually been done or is being done right now? And we could see some results. I know, for instance, the idea of modifying the plants so they can grow in a lot of places. That's another one of those things that sounds like, okay, well, this is a great idea. Now, where's the stuff that says that they're growing tomatoes in Iceland and rice in Antarctica, or whatever the heck it is? We got bananas in Michigan. Wherever the places are where the food hasn't been arable and now it is, we need to see some of that. It seems very speculative at this particular point. I think there's probably good science behind a lot of it, but at the moment it seems sort of theoretical. I think one of the reasons that you might want to do a little bit more background on this is that there's been this pushback against the so-called frankenfoods and that kind of thing, where people are claiming that there are all these potential problems here. And I think maybe what you want to do is make the argument says, look, there's this huge potential over here that we're being scared away from. And because people are worried about X, Y, and Z, and ignoring that is going to doom millions of people to leading desperate lives. And then I think you've got a little bit more controversy. I mean, the theory that this is going to happen, I'm not sure that there's a dispute about the theory. but is it working? Is it practical? The bigger controversy is, are we going to do it? And I think that's something that has not been developed in your argument here. You do a nice job speaking to the audience. I thought that you cited your authorities when you're quoting people pretty effectively. Like I said, I do think you need to have a little bit more diversity of the kinds of evidence that you have. You have a lot of agronomists who say things, which is nice that they say them, but all we have is their say-so, and they are experts in that particular field, but there's got to be some data that backs them up too. They've got studies that they've produced these results on. I think we need some information like that. Okay, thank you.